All right, y'all. I done had my little Indian food. So this is part two. And I hate that that video cut off at that point. But anyway, it did. So yeah, so the girl, finishing the story. So the girl, she using something really good on my skin. I love it. Oh my God. It's taking away like lines. It's taking away like any type of blemishes. Like it's perfect. I'm gonna share a video about that because it's something that I actually made. That you can make yourself. So yeah, the girl, so she gets off the bus. So we get off the bus. I stand there to continue the story. And so everybody's kind of making this U shape, not circling us in, but like a U shape. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. Again, I'm standing there, no bag in my hand. I'm not walking home. I lived a couple, like literally up right around the corner. I remember her literally getting off the bus, and she almost, I don't think she expected me to be standing there. And so the other girls was saying something to her, and I'm just looking like, if it's going to go down, it's going to go down. I'm not talking to her. I'm not talking trash to her. But I'm thinking if it's going to go down, it's going to go down. Do you know she walked away? That's what I'm saying. It's sometimes in life, I know we live in this world where we want to pretend like if you don't say anything to anybody, you don't do anything to anybody, it's going to be okay. That's just not the world we live in. It's people that think that they can pick on you. It's people that think that you are weak. It's people that think that they can just do stuff. But you have to figure it out for yourself and just not be afraid. Be clear. You might have got me on the first fight just because you're bigger than me. You might have. I fight dirty. So could be some rocks, some sand, something I could have threw in your eyes. I mean, I don't know. People like me, we got to fight dirty. We got to find something else, because at that particular time, all I kept thinking was, even if she gets me on this fight, I'm gonna get her later. Like I literally was planning to get her later. Like my brothers played a lot of sports and they played baseball. It was nothing for my brothers to have like a steel bat. If you know what a bat that's made of steel, that metal, you know what I'm saying? It was nothing for me to just go ahead and take a bat and beat the living crap out of this chick. Like she literally probably would have needed to get assistance on learning how to walk again. This is the thing. Bullies out there, please be clear. Everybody has limits. Every person has a limit. And you got to be careful of pushing people and thinking that they're going to crawl up into a ball of fear. People that are built like me are not going to fall into the fear box. We're going to fall into I'm going to get you as close to death as possible the next time I get you. And we don't blink on it. Because if I've done nothing to you, there's no reason for you to want to put your hands on me. You can say anything. I don't care what you say to me. You can say anything. That would never gets me riled up. Like, I don't care. But it's the fact that this person went out of her way to take a bus. She got on my bus. She got the kids on my stop all riled up. She got them thinking it was going to be this big fight. And again, I think she thought I was going to run. Again, I ran track, but I wasn't running. No, I'm not going to run from nobody. Who's doing the lawn? Oh, we kept the door open. Again, I don't advocate violence. I advocate sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to go ahead and fight. So the girl that's on the radio, 96.3, I believe is the station. I forget her name. She's a great radio host. But again, she was having issues and asking for advice. Only advice I could tell people in that situation, I guess if you have kids in elementary school, I think her son came home with like a bloody lip or something, and he was pushed or something else happened, and another kid jumped in and started pushing him around. It's like he's the kid that's being bullied. They've selected him. I'm going to tell you what I had to tell myself. At times, you got to fight, even if you don't want to. At times, you got to throw down, even if you think that might be the wrong thing. But see, in my house, it was never the wrong thing. It was, you got to defend yourself. Like my parents weren't those parents, oh, you can never fight. You can never put your hands on people. No, that's not the world we live in. That's just not real. And even if he comes out a little battered and bruised, he did that. He defended himself. And we all know that kids will inevitably leave you alone. Like if you'll fight, you're eventually going to learn how to fight, and you're going to fight good. You're eventually going to get some licks in. You're eventually going to do that because you're so angry. I'm not saying it should be a playground of fights and it's okay for kids to just be fighting each other. Some of the other questions that the parents had were, what happens to the kids and the parents of the kids that are doing the fighting or doing the instigating, whatever the case may be. And it seems like administrators don't want to face the situation. I don't know why schools just don't throw kids out of school for a couple of days. Like, there should be a consequence. Like, in real life as an adult, I can't just go up and put my hands on somebody just because I'm mad at them. You know, they piss me off, so I'm going to go up and just start hitting people. You know what I'm saying? In the real world, that is assault. You do get charged. You get some sort of penalty. If someone got hurt, you're going to be paying medical bills and whatever else. You know, there's got to be, my thing with this whole thing is there's got to start being consequences, even in school. And that should be in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, some sort of, and I don't know about fines and fees. I think we pay enough in taxes depending upon where you live. But there's got to start being some penalties, like seriously. But teachers and administrators that are not calling parents back, that are experiencing the bullying and their kids are coming home with bloody noses and shit like that, I can't even believe that. Like, if I had come home with a bloody nose or even like I said, my brothers came home with some sort of blood, like all hell would have broke loose. Like, there's just no way. You know, there's just no way. So that's what I have to say about that. In a perfect world, we don't need to fight. In a perfect world, we don't need to defend ourselves, you know, because kids will just know and parents will know, and a phone call home will solve the whole thing. Not always. I wish it was that simple. That's what I have to say, y'all. The only thing I can do is share my own bullying, you know, stories. But they weren't really bullying. I think it was just chicks in school, chicks in high school. And I have a cousin that they tried to fight her. I think she was in a cosmetology class, and she's very pretty. She's one of them pretty people that even though you're pretty, she made you feel unpretty because she was that pretty. I think if Alicia Keys and Jennifer Lopez had a baby, it would look like her. Like, she, like, body, face, pretty. She was very pretty. People knew her as being very pretty. Anyway, she went to high school, had some drama with the chicks that weren't pretty. And because she was in, I think, cosmetology class, I think one of them grabbed a fingernail file and tried to scratch her face up. The goal was to scratch her face up. And I think they got a few scratches, but not really. Like, her skin, you couldn't even see it. Like, her mother worked with her and put stuff on her face. But it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. How that happens. Mary J. Blige told a story about a girl. She lived in a rough neighborhood coming up, and it was a girl that just didn't like her. And to this day, she has that scratch on her face. She has a scratch on her face. Queen Latifah grew up in a rough area, even though everything worked out, and her mother did everything she could to keep her children's head out of, you know, the bad neighborhood mentality. They still lived in a bad neighborhood. And there's a cut on either between her eyes or somewhere on Queen Latifah. I forget. I think it's between her eyes. I could be wrong. But she won't even tell the story. Like, she's not going to give breath and air to the person who put that scar on her. You know, these are things that happen, y'all. You know, this is life. It's stupid. It's shitty. But stuff like that's happening. I mean, jealousy is jealousy. Boys have their own thing, I guess. I know my son got into a fight in school when we moved down south. The elementary school was great that he went to, and then he ended up going to this middle school that I absolutely hated. And the high school in that county was a great high school. So I didn't know why the elementary school and the high school were considered so great. And then they literally left the middle school for dead. Like, I hated the middle school. And he ended up in his first fight or whatever. And the administrators, I felt the teacher was nonsensical. Like, she didn't really have an answer. Like, I went to a meeting with her and I was asking her some pretty strategic questions because I needed to loop back around to sort of why she didn't let me know if my son was such a problem and had been a problem for weeks and I'd never heard this before. Why didn't I get a letter home? Why didn't I get a call? Why didn't I get anything? A meeting, something. And I was looping her around to her lie, which is she claimed on one hand, he was a problem. He's been a problem for a while. Okay, so if that's the case, why don't you send letters home? Why didn't you call? And if so, when? And I need to see a copy of the letter. She was up in the ceiling looking for the answers. And I remember starting to look up at the ceiling with her looking for them too. Like, what are we in the ceiling for? I'm looking at you face to face. I'm not cussed you out. I've not called you out your name, but I need you to answer the questions. Again, some schools are crap. My son I pulled him out of that school. They wanted him to do an in-school suspension on a Saturday. I said, well, the only way he'll go to an in-school suspension on a Saturday, since he was such a problem and nobody informed me as a parent, okay, to nip that in the bud. I never laid a hand on my son. He had never received a spanking, a slap, nothing. because he knew I'm crazy as hell. And you know your mother's a crazy motherfucking bitch. You don't do shit. You leave her alone. You don't do that. You leave her alone. So I never had to spank my son. Like, he knew it would just be too much. Just listen to what I say. So my problem was they didn't inform me. So I could get to the bottom of it, find out what was going on. And my thing about the in-school suspension was as follows. He will only come to school on a Saturday for in-school suspension if the teacher has to come for in-school suspension, because if he was such a problem this whole time, she didn't inform me. And as far as I'm concerned, she was just as wrong. And she kept my son and another kid sitting at the same table in a certain class as opposed to moving them away from each other. And that was wrong of her. You don't keep kids who you know are going at each other in front of each other the whole time. She was one of them scared teachers. Anyway, moving it right along. So parents, defend your kids when they need defending. If something doesn't sound right, you got to call it out on the school. If your kid is such a problem, where's the letter? Where's the phone call? Where's the meeting? They've got to do their part too. So in some cases, parents don't even know what's going on. In some cases, they do know what's going on and they don't care. In those cases, I think parents need to be able to litigate, do something after, get something after school, outside of school rather. Let's go ahead and fight, get some charges going. Bottom line, if my son needs counseling, if my son needs this, that, and the third based on your kid, yeah, let's go ahead and start going to court. Let's get you out of work. Let's go to court. Let's start doing all those things that you're going to hate since you can't control your child. I'll go around the school. I don't have time. I'll go around the school. I'll find out where you live. You will be served, and we'll go from there. Okay? But in the meantime, sometimes kids have to fight. It's shitty. You don't want to have to do it. It is what it is. People will respect you. At the end of the day, they'll respect you. You know what I'm saying? You even if they get a few licks in. If you try to fight, they will respect you. And again, I'm not an advocate for, people fighting and putting hands on each other. That's sometimes what has to happen in school. So that's the second part of the video that got cut off. So it's getting ready to cut off again because I need to clear my storage. I got a lot of stuff to clear off. And so it's not letting me record for a long time. Anyway, that's bullying stories part 2. It's getting hot in here. I need to put the AR on.